Guys, we should be live. Hey, in this specific video, I'm going to show you how not to freaking mess up your client onboarding process. Okay, and a lot of these series that I'm going to be doing live are basically, it's not how to screw up. Now, why am I doing these type of series? Like, instead of saying, hey, let me show you how to do something, I'm going to show you how to not do something. Why am I doing that? Well, you have so many videos of these gurus that are guiding that have never actually done the process. Most anything and everything that I've built have all been trial and error. They're testing the solution and then failing, and then making it better, testing, failing, testing, failing, testing, failing. It hasn't been just a one shot, oh my gosh, it wins. It hasn't done that. It's always testing, failing, and breaking, testing, failing, and breaking, right? And this specific section, well, we're gonna be covering that. So, that being said, this specific focus is how to set up your customers, okay? How to onboard your customers. Now, who is this applicable for? What's this live applicable for, okay? It's for anybody who is in the digital marketing space that has clients, anybody who is in the affiliate marketing space that has clients, anyone who is any space that actually has clients. There's a process and a delivery to be able to get somebody. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick story before we dive into the system. So, quick story. There's a company called Ceres Aircraft. Ceres Aircraft is this jet place. Maybe I'll just pop them up for you so that way you can see exactly who they are. Ceres Aircraft. Let me just pop them up. I'll pull up so you can see it. This is them right here, okay? Ceres Aircraft, okay? So now, this specific company, when you go to a delivery, okay, so they have something called a jet delivery. And what the jet delivery is, okay, it's basically they grab one of these vehicles, we'll call them vessels, okay? They grab one of these vessels here, and they come in and they do this specialized delivery process. And if you're wondering, you're like, hey Cam, well, how do you know? I'll just show you really quick, so that way you can see how we know. Okay, let me jump into a TikTok really quick. Should be on my TikTok. I don't know. Maybe not. Cam Garlic. Let's just take a look really quick. Skip past. There I am. Okay, this is an old account that is not me. I might not even log in because it's taking too long. Let's just see really quick. But I just want to show you that, I mean, when we went through the process of getting delivery, I don't want to log into that crap. Okay, when we went through the process, basically what happened was this. So they have the private jet for you. They bring it into this big warehouse. And then there's these lights, there's this music, there's people that are like excited. And then they go and they deliver your jet. This is, again, before you've got it. They're delivering it to you. They have such an experience there that is just like, wow, I want to do this again just for the delivery. That's what it is. After you buy a $4 million jet, of course they should have a good delivery, but I'm just giving you this as a concept, okay? Your business should be the exact same piece. I mean, you don't need to give them a $4 million jet or anything like that, but there is a specific process in which you should give them. It shouldn't be just like, sign up, here's a Google Sheet, go fill this crap out. Do you really think that they like that? They'll deal with it because they don't have any better, but as soon as they find better, they're switching. I promise you, okay? Well, I want to kind of dive into some of those different processes so that way you can see, okay, well, they had a good delivery. Well, how do I take some of those ideas, those processes, how do I reverse engineer them a bit, and how do I come in and apply them to my own solution? So where I always start in the blueprint piece. Now, how do you get there? So if you're in GFunnel, there's something called diagrams, right? So create a free account, diagram, or gfunnel.com, you're gonna see this app, okay? It's there for every free account, it's just there, okay? Click on diagrams, boom, it's gonna pop up this app. Now you have this app. Now, I use this app for absolutely everything. If I am talking to a client, I'll use this app. If I'm using anything, I use this app. I use it for everything. If you notice, I'm just showing you a quick little onboarding process, and I'm going to show you the entire thing, okay? Now, do we have a lot more in-depth processes? Yes. So I wrote in the little thing like, why am I better than 99%? The ego, right? The ego twist. It's not. It's just simply, you go into the details. If you go into the details, you can't fail. If you do that for your clients, you can't fail. Now, does it take a little bit of time? Sure it does, but we're going to dive in. So First thing I want to do is I want to do a little comparison. So this is a process. This is not a full adapt process. This is an overview process, okay? And what this process does is it gets somebody from point A, I'll show you, let me log out. From point A, this is point A, right, on the website, point A to creating an account, create, filling out this information, fill out, submitting this information, submit, all the way, right, this, all the way to them actually logging in to the account. And this is the experience, this is every detail, okay? Well, you have to understand, what is the very first step? The very first step is let me sell you into just creating a free account. I don't need to sell people into, let me sell you into signing up for the software because it's the coolest software in the world. I just need to sell you into creating your free account. Then I need to sell you into the processes of starting to create for that free account. Then I need to sell you into the processes of not only starting to create, but starting to leverage the tools and seeing the benefits and seeing the savings. So this way you click the button and upgrade, right? That's where I need to take somebody. That's in a sense what we call a client journey. We take people on a client journey. Well, really quick, I'm going to show you a client journey of a company that you probably already know. Okay, I put it as Click. This is called ClickUp. ClickUp's company, right? ClickUp's a company that does project management. And I want to take you through their processes. So what I did is I just followed the step-by-step processes, and it was very easy for me to do, and I'll show you how to do it. So first thing I did is I went to what? ClickUp.com, right? www.clickup, right? ClickUp.com. I went to that, okay? And I saw this, and I'm like, oh, this is cute, right? I actually like their website a lot. We're going to replicate it. That's how much I like it, okay? So that way you know. We're going to replicate this so it'll have a similar look, similar feel, a little bit different though, okay? But let's just say I come here and I say, let me create a free account, right? So I click there, free account, I come into the system, and now it's ready for me to create a free account. Well, if you notice what they do, their very first thing is to collect an email. This is for their records, right? This is for their marketing purposes. They collect an email. That's the very first step. They don't grab the username. They don't grab the password, even though we do. Like when we get somebody to come in, we just collect their username and password and bring them forward. They actually go to the point of collecting this piece. And then once they collect this piece, so let's just say we collected Cam, I'll just put my information in, right? Create a free account, right? Create a free account, pop up, boom. Now they have a process. There's a sign up process. See, boom. It didn't determine, like I've already created an account like this, okay? I can even come back. Let me come back, I'll show you. So if I came in here, I'll show you an account that I already have, and we'll just test it. So what I always do is I go back through, so you can call it funnel hacking, you can call it whatever the heck you want, but I go back through the process. So let's say this is the process, Canva G-Funnel, I click forward, okay? It then just brought me in, so it actually did determine something for me right here. Welcome back. So here's one of the processes that I didn't analyze prior, but I'm gonna just analyze now, okay? So there's a form that collects it, then they have it like this. Somebody enters in their information, so they're not creating an extra account, and then it takes it to a login. There's a logic here. Does that make sense? So it's either coming here or it's coming here. You guys follow me on that? Make sense? Let me bring this up a little bit. I don't know why this line is not connecting. That's fine. We'll just connect it there. That's totally cool. Okay. That's probably why it's not connecting. Maybe not. Jeez. Come on, thing. Come on, thing. Either way, it's fine. I'm just going to bring it up here so I don't get distracted by that. Okay, but anyways, what they're doing is there's a segmentation here. So you see the segmentation? I'm just going to bring this guy up. So it matches. There's this segmentation here, right? Where somebody comes in, I'll just bring this down just a little bit to match. Somebody comes in and they're either going to, we'll just connect that guy. And now it is not wanting to listen to me. There we go. There's a segmentation here that basically is saying, hey, do you want to come into this, like, who are you basically? Are you a user of ours? There's going to be a process. Are you not a user of ours? There's going to be a process, okay? I'm going to show you basically down each one so that way you can see it. So let's just say I said, oh, I'm a user. Okay, well, what can I do? I can sign in with an SSO. Okay, there's one of the things I can do. Okay, so sign in with the SSO, or I can log in. That's basically all I can do. But then we have this page, right? Looks like a cool page. I mean, I'll compare the two, right? So I'll just jump in. I like to compare bigger companies than my own, because my own company is created by me. People can do it better, right? So this is, in a sense, now the comparison. So we can say, okay, well, here's the comparison. They have something cool. Theirs looks better. It does, right? Welcome back, right? Login, welcome back, okay? So now we say, okay, we have something like this, right? They have no links there, so they removed all the links. app.clickup.com, welcome back, right? Same thing, welcome back. We have our entire database within the one system. They have multiple systems, which is, again, a new way to look at it, right? Because if I'm coming in here, I can say, oh, they're coming into the app dot, right? This one's going in, the signup's just going in right to the main page, right? Now I can say, okay, what's the next step? So we log in. What's the next step? So let's just say we log in. So I'll just log in really quick. Boom, logged in, and then they say, okay, join the space. Yes, I'd like to join. And now I come in, and now I'm part of that space, right? Now I'm part of this. I'm part of the projects. I'm part of XYZ, of what it is. They have their setups, right? I'm part of it. Now, let me log out really quick. Let me show you the alternate way. So log out. Perfect. Set up an account. Okay, again, they have something that looks basically the same. Setting up the account, right? I'll put a link here. Link. Looks like they both are on the app, which is fine. So I'll actually delete this app. But now we know where this goes. Okay, if I jumped in here, I can say, oh, log in the account. Copy. Let me just add that link there. Okay. So you see why I'm building on this builder first. Now I can keep track of everything. I can say, well, this one's just clickup.com. Right, so I can jump in here and I can say HTTPS. Whoops, let me redo that. Link, HTTPS, and this is www.clickup.com. So now let's say I'm re-engineering a process. I'm looking at the details, not just the this is good, I bring somebody in the dashboard, this is a great idea. No, I look at the details. Like, for instance, there's a page here. There's so many details here. Since I'm not focused on the page, I'm focusing on their form. They have a form, and there's a logic on this form. And this logic says, does this email exist? And if the answer is, well, yeah, the email exists, it's going to say, well, perfect. The email exists, right? Perfect. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to then grab them. I'm going to bring this information in, and then I'm going to place this information. Does that make sense? Okay. Now the next piece. Let's jump right into the next piece. Let's just say we sign up. The next thing that they're going to do is they fill out a form. Okay, so let's just say I filled out a form. I'm going to put it on this side. Well, it's fine on this side. Okay, because what's this one going to do? This one's just going to bring them into this platform, basically. Okay, so if I go to login, login's going to bring down to this platform. We'll just call it platform. Okay. Boom. Are you with me so far on this process, or is it confusing? You can let me know. You can say, Cam, I'm confused. What the hell are you doing? Why are you drawing this stuff? I don't even know. Okay, let me know. Where are you at with this? Easy? Yes, very easy so far, right? So let's now dive in. So now what happens here? Okay, actually I am going to bring this form out just a little bit so I don't make it too complex, okay? Well, again, when they sign up, they fill out a form, okay? And this form goes in, there's steps of this form, there's steps in the pages. What does this form do? So let's pull it up and let's check. So if I'm right here, right? Let's just say I'm right here. This specific form gathers information and it brings it into probably their database. Okay. What kind of information does it bring in? Well, again, if I'm creating the account, so let me sign up, it brings my first name in, right? It brings my email in, and it brings my password in, right? That's what it does. And if we notice, there's a few other things connected here. By clicking the button above, you agree to our terms of service and privacy policy. Very simple, right? So now if I come in and I click, right? So I go to sign up, I come in and I click, I'll show you on both sides, sign in, right? This one actually does, wait, let's see, this site is protected by that. Okay, cool, so somebody already agreed to it. Okay, so by clicking above, you agree to our privacy pieces, okay? We can then jump in and we can say, okay, well, let's just see. This is their privacy, but they have more, right? They have a privacy. They have another privacy. They have a security policy, right? They have a cookie policy. They have a terms of service, which is broken. So you start seeing these pages that are kind of broken, right? You have developer terms. You have data. You have sub-process, right? Look, I'm showing you that their systems are broken here, okay? But I'm just showing you that. This is something as big as a ClickUp. Their pages aren't uniform. Look, this is on the old site, right? This is on the new site, right? So some of the stuff has worked. This is on the old site. This is on the new side. They haven't migrated everything over. But why I'm showing you that is this. This is a company, a very, very big company that does specific things, okay? They're just like you. There's no difference. It's not like, well, this is a big company with billions of dollars of financing and all this other bullshit. No, they're just like you. Maybe it was an individual that created something and created a great perception. Why I'm sharing that, it's because you focus on the processes. Like, how do I know? Well, here, I'll give you an example, okay? Let's just say I'm driving down in the city right now. I'm in Austin right now, okay? I'm driving down in the city, so let me pretend, okay, we're driving, right? I go and I see this big skyscraper, and this big skyscraper has a logo on the side, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that company must be big. They have their own skyscraper. That is what we call a perception. And what your goal is to hack that perception. You see the building, you see the logo, and you ask yourself, do they actually own that building? And the answer is no, they do not. Then you say, okay, well, what part of that building do they own? Maybe it's absolutely nothing. Maybe it is just a sponsored sign on the side of a freaking building. It is a perception. A lot of these companies have that perception. Okay, does that make sense? That's why I'm showing you this. So if you notice, there's some flaws here, but they have good stuff, right? Like they have AI additional terms. They're messed up here. They really are. There's some violations here if you dive deep into it, but we're not going to dive deep into it because we don't care, okay? All we know is, okay, this is linked. They have some legal here, right? They have some different policies that they added based off of information that they did great, right? They have their footers here. Why do they have their footers here? So they rank on their website. Great, right? So they have some cool stuff, okay? So then all you have to do is say, okay, well, what do they actually have? So I'm just going to categorize this. I'm going to call this legal, okay? Legal, because if you want to know all the policies and bullshit that you need to add to a website, just call it legal. Plug it into Grok. I'm going to give you bad advice. I'm not your attorney, but I'm going to give you bad but really good advice. Plug it into Grok. Plug it into an AI system and say, hey, what do I need for this type of business in XYZ? It'll say, well, you need a terms of use, you need a privacy policy, you need XYZ. And you say, can you help me write them, right? And sure enough, if you give it enough information, it's going to help you build and write those pieces. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense, okay? Let's jump into the next steps, okay? So we have a sign up, right? Form. What does this form collect? Basic information. That goes now into a database. What does that database do? This database can then say, oh, well, we're going to run this operation. Let me just bring it down here. We're going to run this operation. You've given us enough information for us to go and build you your own workspace. AKA, you can build this in your Go High Level account. You can build it in anything that you desire to build it in, okay? So that connects there. And the next thing they do is they take you down a quick little survey, okay? So once you're here, so once I create this account, okay, so let's just create an account. I'm John Doe. Okay, I'm gonna have to verify an email. I don't want to verify email. It's gonna take me to the next setup state. I think I can, either way I can. Okay, it's gonna take me to the next setup state, and then you're gonna just trust me because I've already went through this process. The first thing that it's going to do is it's gonna ask you team setup. Okay, so it's gonna want to know, well, hold on, what kind of platform are we dealing with? They want to know if is it for work, is it for personal use, or is it for schooling, right? Why? Because each one has its own marketing metric, meaning I'm going to talk to you a little bit different than I talk to somebody that's doing their personal account. I'm going to talk to the personal account a little different than I'm going to talk to somebody that's going to school, right? I'm going to make that experience unique, extremely unique as humanly possible. So how do I do it? I do it by capturing this information. What is the next step? Well, what's your use interest? Because maybe I want to sell you into something, right? And again, I'm just showing you ClickUp's process that you can apply yourself, right? So this is their here, and I'm going to make this even easier. I'm going to put a little box around this guy so you can see it. Again, this is what I call a perception hack. You look at the biggest freaking company within a specific niche, within a specific industry, and you copy it. You copy what works. Yes, I'm giving you legal advice there. No, I'm not. You find what works and you implement what works. So you don't have to spend the money on the development and all this other bullshit. Don't spend that money. Spend it where it matters, okay? But I'm just going to put a box here and we're going to call this a survey. So first, what do? If you're running a business, no matter what your business is, a coaching company, XYZ, it doesn't matter. You're going to create a big perception. People judge a book by its cover. Create a big perception so people come and look. Because again, I get people all the time coming in. They jump into G-Funnel. They're like, holy crap, man. Like, I had a person just try to fake sue me because they wanted money from me. I mean, I'm telling you, like, you don't want to go that route, but you want to create a really good, big perception, okay? Next thing is you want to filter the information. So what they did here is they just created a survey or a filter. And the first piece is team setup. Do you want it for work use, personal use, school use? Which one? Okay, how do we do it? I'll show you. So let's just say I come into here, I'll type in like password. There we go, password there. Okay, next. What's your legal name? That's my legal name. John Smith, that's my legal phone number. I don't want text messages. So you see why I'm asking these questions? Right? Is it for, here's my questions. Is it for work? Is it personal? Is it school? Is it a nonprofit? Or are you a vendor? Okay? And you could even say, like, I could even add something else. Like, are you a client of mine? Is it for client setup? Right? So, and we can make this cute. I can turn this into a radio button if we want. Make it cute. But this is needed information. Now, when somebody clicks here, these are going to have specific sequences and specific processes, meaning maybe I can kind of put these two together or this one together, right? Based on the logic. So now when I'm building it, this is just a form that's built out within Lead Connector. So now if I'm in Lead Connector, I'll just show you really quick. I jump into our forms. This one would be in a survey because if you see there's multiple steps there. And then I'd have a survey and then this specific survey, right? And I just need to make it look pretty, right? I need to make it look like it matches because people judge a book by its cover. Then I come into here. Okay. And there you go. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense. Yeah. Now I can do some logic. Okay. So again, it comes in, people do this. I can then say, oh, well, I want logic here. I can come into here and I can say, hey, we're going to put some logic here. So I can put logic here. I can jump into advanced settings. I can put logic here. In the back end, I can also create unique processes, like unique logic, where it's like, hey, if you have this specific case, well, we're going to market you this specific way. And if you have this specific case, we're going to market you this specific way. And you have this specific case. So you do want to kind of create that uniqueness. So we'll be doing that. Okay. Next thing, traffic source. So I'll show you on ours, right? So we have it where if somebody wants text message or not, right? Why did we do this? We did this to make this easy. That's why we did it, right? What type of SMS would you like to receive? No SMS. I could even put that up more. So like, let's say this is the phone number. I could come here and say, well, what type of SMS would you like to receive? So if somebody's like, shoot, I shouldn't have probably put my phone number in here, just click no SMS, right? Now no SMS is there. Next piece, well, hey there, what brings you in today, right? That's their choice, that's their work. Then what is your role? We have some logic here. So if it's work, we want to define their role. We want to define their organization. How many people do they work, right? How many people work for them? And then from there, which industry best describes the business? So they pick up an industry which we have pre-selected. See, these are our industries. So we have pre-selected industries. So this way we have pre-selected templates, pre-selected applications, pre-selected everything based on those pieces. Then they select it. From there, right? What is the registration type? We want to know if they're registered or not, because our marketing is going to be, are you registered? No, I'm not registered. You don't even know if you're registered? Cool, let's market you if we're registered. Does that make sense? And then from there, again, this is student, right? All the way down, do you currently have a website? If they say no, we're going to market them a website. How did you hear about us? Okay, where do you want your information hosted? We do this because we want to make sure it's not a robot that's creating their account. And then we have their agreement, and we do it prior to, so it's not a robot that's agreeing to our agreement, right? And then when somebody says, yeah, this is what I want, they click here and they submit, right? And we can, I might actually change this from submit. Yeah, I'll change it. I don't like the word submit. So let me change that really quick. What I like is, they changed this piece. Let's see. What I like is, instead of submitting, we can think about that too. Like, what do we actually want there, right? One question at a time too. No, that's fine. What do we actually want there? Let me see where it went. They updated this. Box style. Nope. Footer. Nope. Miscellaneous. Nope. Settings. Submission. Alrighty. Let's just see. That's information that we don't want. Okay, cool. So let's just jump back in. So I need to find where exactly that. If not, I have to do some CSS for it. Screw it, I'll have to do some CSS later. If you know where that is, let me know. Okay, but anyways, this one collects some information and then it markets them a specific way. It's similar to what they do. Again, what they do is they use interest, where the traffic comes from. If they need to invite people, there's a sequence to invite people. The tools they use, this one activates migration, right? We'll probably do that too. Which tools do you use? So we'll do migration here. Okay. Tools that are interested to them to kind of attract that piece of, oh, these are the actual tools that interest me, right? Because then you can market based upon those specific tools, and then you get them into the platform, and then they start using the platform. Okay. So simple process, but do you see the complexity in the first steps? Do you see how important the first steps are? Do you see, if you don't collect this information correctly, that you can actually destroy yourself? Do you see that? Hopefully you see that. If you don't see that, I don't know what else to tell you. Okay, it's important. It's important. Okay, so let's jump into the registration process. Let's go through it. Okay, so the first thing that we need to add, so I'm going to show you what we don't have, right? What not to do, and what we do have. So let's just jump in really quick. So I jump into gfunnel.com. Okay, so let's say I'm here. Okay, cool, we have a website. Okay, so there we go. We have one plus. It's a website. Okay, do we have a good footer? No, our footer is only this guy, so we'll probably add a big footer here with all of the information. Why? Because of ranking, right? So let's just jump back here, because then we can say versus Monday, versus this, versus that. We can say versus Go High Level, versus Lead Connector, versus Bootcamp, versus all these other softwares we can do. So we can say this is for us, right? GFunnel with this information here. Then we can say here's some resources for you. So you have webinars and XYZ. Here's some features for you so you understand the features. Here's the comparative. And then here's learn more. Does that logic make sense? Hopefully. Okay. Then they have a LinkedIn profile. They have a Facebook profile. They have an Instagram profile. And then they have an X profile. Okay. So I could jump in here. This hasn't been updated for a while, but now you can see, right? They're following this and they're following that, but I want to show you. Here's a sequence. August 12th, yesterday. August 11th, August 8th. See the sequence? 7, 7, 5, 5, 4, 1. There's enough information to show that this looks kind of cool, right? This does. It looks like good posts, right? They're creating GIFs. I think this is a GIF. Let's just take a look. Nope, this is a video. So they're doing video. I can probably take a look exactly at this guy.
And your AI is...
So this is a 40-second video. Let's say this one, right? This one, 50-second video. This one, okay, it just walks people through. It's like a little click, 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 walks people through. 4-second video. This one's a video. This one's a video. This one's a video. So we know we have to do video rich because people are engaging with video rich. But I want to show you something. How many followers do they have? And how many views are they getting? Garbage. I want to show you that. Garbage. That's garbage. You have 70,000 followers and you're getting 3 likes. Do you see the perception there? I want to make sure that you see the perception. Okay? Does that make sense? And X did a very good job, right? Look at their good job. They have their brand over here on the left side. They have their create an account over here on this side. And then they have this account right here. Right? So this is now their home page. Right? And you know about it because of their branding. Okay? This is now a site. So I'm going to give you a comparison. Let me give you a comparison. So let's just say I come into GFunnel and I search really quick and I say, well, I want to search for Cameron. Right? So I want Cameron. Let's just pop me up really quick. Okay, so now I'm here. So I mean, we have a banner on the bottom, but if you look, why did they do it as dark versus white? Maybe it's easier on the eyes. So if you notice, there's certain things that can happen. Now, I mean, I can probably, here, let me just adjust some stuff. But I'm showing you the very processes of deliverable. We have most of ours as this white background, okay? White background, white background, white background. But let's just pretend for just a second. And I'm going to see if I can pull up an example. And I'm going to see if I can just make this dark so you can see it. So let me log in. Let me jump in here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, because again, I'm in the platform, you can't see it, I'm in the platform. Let me just make sure my light or dark mode is active. I hit it. I'll reactivate it. Alrighty, settings. Let's go to design. From the design, we'll go into settings. Default to visitors, we don't want that. General. Let me jump into the other settings here. Alrighty. Let's just pretend for a sec. I'm going to push it to dark mode. Let's just pretend for a sec. change this. Let's just go here. And I'm just doing this as of course pretend, right? So if I jump here, so some of this will be not here. So let me go to body. I'll go to background of the body, and I'm just going to do trans. Can I do dark? And I'm just kind of looking, right? So, and one of the things is again determining here. Let's not work. Let's just jump in really quick and see. Let me refresh. Because not everyone likes light mode, so or likes dark mode. So let's just dive in really quick. And see how that looks. Maybe that looks better. Right? Interesting. Maybe we adjust. My only thing though is this. If let's say I jump into a platform. So let's just say this is the platform. Now these aren't necessarily light mode. Right? But yeah, here, let me go like this. Auto switch. Let me just switch it. There we go. That way somebody can come in. Let's see, light mode. It's almost the same. I'll look into it to seeing if that should change or not. Because again, we have light mode right now. Maybe people like the dark mode. I don't know. Again, dark mode. But what I'm showing you is just, again, the detail to process, right? So here's the dark mode, right? And maybe people would like this dark mode a little bit better. Maybe it looks a little bit, now I'm thinking if that would be a good idea. If it would be more attractive for people to go light mode. What is your thoughts? Do you think it would? And you can message and say, yeah, Cam, that'd be really cool if you can do that, right? I'll just do light mode for now. Make a few changes here. Let's see what we got. There we go. So this is how it normally looks, right? And then let me just check really quick. I just switched the header. Let me switch over here into a profile. But the idea is this perception hacker piece that I'm talking about, right? It's diving deep into these processes. It's seeing something like this, and then it's diving deep into it. Let me see if I can stretch that. See if it changes the look and feel. Nope, it really doesn't change the look and feel, does it? That's okay. I'll probably put some custom code in and do a few other things on there, but that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Okay, so jumping back. So if you notice, I went from one company to another company to another company, and all I'm doing is I'm finding out what are the best processes of delivery. Because if I can get somebody to come in from here, I can get them to log in, and I can get them to go through specific processes, right? And I can get it so it's beneficial. And what I mean by beneficial, like give that specific user the best experience they can have. If I can do that, they win, and that's the real key. It's can we make it a win for them? Okay. Yeah, that's basically the live I wanted to talk about. It's more, what are the processes that we follow? Are we focusing on the details of the process? Meaning, are we focusing in the details? So if I'm coming here, right, there are specific questions that we're asking. Are we segmenting that specific information? And then if we are there systems that we need to build to make it so it functions a specific way to give somebody a specific outcome, right? So that being said, that's alive. So the next piece is, how do you implement? What do we do, right? Like, you're building this system, so what do we do? So I always call it bring somebody to an E stage. So bring somebody so the reason that we have like an application stage similar to this, right? The big reason that we have this is so people, the individuals, right? So if I'm a human, I can come into a process, right? I can come into the process and then I can say, oh, I can now do what I need as a client, because clients have needs too. It's not just writing a Google sheet. It's not just building out a specific thing. It's not just that. If that makes sense. It's a lot more than just that. There's a lot more than just that. It's making sure that they are able to reach you when they need to reach you. It's making sure that their tasks are being submitted correctly if you're running like any type of operation. It's making sure not only do they have a place that they can go, they can upgrade, they can change, but they have, again, I call it an E stage. They have a world. And the key is to create the world for people. And then once you create it, you, of course, leverage the tool, give the tool to others, and allow others to create with it too, because you're going to see processes that probably aren't the best, but as long as you can adjust to those specific processes, and as long as you can adapt and you're always getting better, then you can start applying the best softwares, the best systems, the best, again, the best things to make it so you don't F up your onboarding process. The best things to implement so you don't F up your business. You can start doing those things. With that being said, my name is Cameron Garlick. If you find enjoyment in a lot of this stuff, like, share, comment, right? Do those things because those things help. But more than anything is just follow the process, use the process, and if you ever need help with the process, you know where to go. That being said, my name is Cameron Garlick.